Hello friends, welcome to the fourth episode of Research Bites. I hope you have enjoyed the previous episodes on interpreting published papers and applying clinical trials to your practice. At Sengupta Research Academy, we are constantly trying to assist you with improving your research skills and helping you do great research and publish meaningful papers. In today's episode, we will try and look at some legitimate ways of earning by doing good clinical research. It is often said that though it is good to do some clinical research, yet private practice is more lucrative in terms of how much money you can make. While that may be true, clinical research also offers good remuneration and is sustainable if you can excel at it. There are many agencies globally, especially in the sphere of economics, that have been built purely on research, but we do not see too many parallels in the field of medicine. Today, I will highlight some of the commercial aspects of clinical research and show you how you can earn a good living doing good clinical research. I have personal experience with many of these points that I will discuss and can vouch that they do work. Before getting to the specifics, it is important to understand that everything in life, including clinical practice and research, requires time and persistence to build up. Acquiring strong fundamentals is critical right from the beginning. Like we concentrate on learning clinical and surgical skills right from residency training, similarly it is important to build up your research skills right from the residency days if you want to gain benefit in the years to come. However, it is never too late to start. So let's dive straight into how you can complement your income by doing good clinical research. Like I said before, the list comes from a bit of personal experience and after interacting with a lot of researchers of global repute. So here it is. Number 1. Research grants and funding. Most perceive it as very difficult or almost impossible to obtain research grants these days. However, the reverse is actually true. We are unaware of where to look for these grants. For example, the Indian Council of Medical Research and the Department of Biotechnology have extramural grants for which you may be eligible. You can look for short duration, low cost research proposals that may have higher chances of approval. There is another extremely useful agency called TrialAct that alerts you of global grant opportunities depending upon your requirements and the kind of profile you create. Remember that every grant proposal has a section for remuneration of the principal investigator, which can be quite handsome. Number 2. Multicentric clinical trial participation. India has all the ingredients required for multicentric clinical trials evaluating new drugs, including large number of patients, good hospitals with adequate infrastructure and expert physicians who can follow protocols. The global pharma industry recognizes this and is willing to invest in India to conduct trials. If you have a track record of clinical research, you can be approached for recruit patients for new or ongoing studies. Most of these trials offer very good financial assistance if you are chosen as a participating center, not to mention the prestige associated with large RCTs. Number 3. You can also earn as a research consultant, speaker and advisory to the pharma world. This is a source of revenue highly prevalent in the Western world, as we all know. Research-oriented clinicians are paid very well in the capacity as speakers, advisors and consultants to the leading pharma companies. Many also hold equity in some of the upcoming companies as remuneration for their inputs. Indian pharma is slowly rising up to this as they realize that physician inputs help in many areas, including specific product inputs, sales strategies, and doctor interactions. If you are an established researcher, you can serve as an advisor and look forward to earning from this source as well. Number 4. Serve as an expert in market surveys. Whenever a new product, drug, instrument, stent, or intraocular lens is launched, most companies do a market survey to understand how it may be received and identify pain points for end users. Surveys usually target the top brass in a particular field. As an expert in the field, based on your research, you can be identified as an esteemed participant in these market surveys. Questions can range from which logo you prefer, to the costing of the product, and how you perceive latest medical evidence of its efficacy, and how likely you are to adopt it in your practice. All the top surveys pay very well for your time and efforts. A strong research-based LinkedIn profile is a good initiation point. Also, you can enroll your name in databases for experts such as Marvin.co and many others, where your name figures as an expert for market surveys. This is a quick snapshot of one of the market surveys that I did with Ernst & Young a couple of years back. Number 5. Collaborate with other academia. This is possibly my favorite option. It is immensely pleasurable and a great experience to interact with academia in other fields such as finance, market research, and health tech research. I was recently involved with a top-notch researcher in one of the best MBA institutions in India to help design a market survey to find out how physicians like you and me would respond if medical representatives are replaced by digital marketing strategies? I learned a lot during these deliberations. Your valuable inputs will be remunerated adequately, and there will be a lot of learning and insight when you get involved. Number 6. Offer services to other physicians. When you excel at research and publish meaningful papers, you can offer your services for manuscript preparation to colleagues for a professional fee. There is increasing demand for publishing in the medical world these days, and such services are therefore in great demand. Sengupta's Research Academy offers such services for ophthalmology-based manuscripts and has assisted about 150 manuscripts over the past 3 years. Number 7. You can earn from being on the expert panel for agencies. Once you are seen as an expert in your field, you will be invited to be part of expert panels by government and non-governmental agencies, which actually decide on a lot of policy. I have been on the review board for the Hong Kong Research Council Grant Review Board since 2015, which is the main research fund in Hong Kong. I have also reviewed some proposals for the Indian Council of Medical Research and have been remunerated for these activities as well. Number 8. Review papers and earn. You heard me right. Reviewing scientific manuscripts in your field is a prestigious issue and helps you build your knowledge and makes your curriculum vitae look good. However, there is nothing in terms of financial assistance from this. In recent times, with the advent of open access journals, there are international agencies of high repute such as Research Square, which help journals review manuscripts and arrive at a decision with ultra short turnover times, typically within 1 week. These agencies employ international researchers with pedigree to review these scientific papers and typically pay between $50 and $100 per paper. If you are good enough, you can review about 6 to 7 papers per month as well. Number 9. Assist venture capital firms in analyzing proposals. There is tremendous interest in Indian health tech startup companies these days. The government is investing in this, and so are large venture capital funds such as Sequoia Capital, Nexus Venture Partners, etc. If these funding houses are looking at investing millions of dollars in an upcoming company, they want to vet this idea with a subject expert before they decide to invest. Your research in a particular field makes you a subject expert, and proposals will come your way to scrutinize. I have been involved with one such VC firm and have overseen funding for a promising retinal imaging device which is powered by artificial intelligence. It is enriching to be part of meetings where you present your version of the company, that is the science, but get to learn how a VC actually churns out their decisions to invest based on so many different aspects of the proposal. Your time and inputs are handsomely rewarded in the process. To conclude, these are some of the ways which can bolster your annual revenue if you can do clinical research well. Can this sustain your life and needs entirely without doing patient care? I think it can eventually be very rewarding and can be the mainstay of what you do. Getting your fundamentals right is extremely important. Some say it doesn't matter how you start, but matters how you finish in life. However, getting a jump start always helps. You can enroll for the online lectures or our fellowship course at Sengupta's Research Academy to get a great start to your clinical research career. That brings us to the end of this episode of Research Bites. I hope you found it interesting and informative. Please leave behind your comments here or email me or WhatsApp me, and also tell me what you want to hear on future episodes of Research Bites. Next time, we will look at plagiarism in the medical research field. Till then, take care, stay safe, and thanks so much for listening.